I remember a story from the Bible having to do with people selling goods in the temple and Jesus getting really upset about it and losing his temper and flipping tables over, etc. Do you have any recollection of this taking place? And if so, what was that about? What was that about? And I think this is from Jaden, and I thank you, Jaden, for all your support and input that I've been getting from you. And thank you, everybody who helped me play around on the live stream. I was kind of trying to be stealthy, and 29 of you found me. I was just testing all the equipment, making sure it was all working for Wednesday. But this question is a great one, and it's a really good one. I do not have memories of this. Now, just to reiterate, just because I do not have memories of it does not mean it did not happen. I have spotty memories from that life, and if I do not remember it or remember anything about it or even a discussion about it, I won't bring it up because I won't say that I've been there or make something up. I only talk about the things that I actually do have memories of. Fortunately, a lot of things have come back, and then which is great. But I do have some thoughts on this because the first thing I'd like to say is Jeshua absolutely was a man and absolutely did get angry at times. In this certain situation, I don't know for certain, but if I was going to guess, if this did happen, here is the most likely reason why. Jeshua had a real concern about people's attachment to money, people's love of money. You know, that's one of his big things was, you know, people are forgetting who they are for money and for things. And then for Jeshua to walk into a temple, which was one of the places where you could actually talk about, you know, esoteric, metaphysical, and spiritual things, and seeing it being taken over by money, I could absolutely 100% see him not handling that well. You know, it's one of those situations where you're invading into the space where you know truth is. Your money lending, your money changing, that selling of goods happening in a sacred space, a place where we actually can talk about things and expand the knowledge about the truth of things. It was very upsetting because of the fact that it was one of those situations where it was obviously becoming few and farther between, and there was, you know, absolutely 100% organized religious thought combining with money. And that was not what the truth of the matter was. It was one of the reasons why he got in trouble is because he wasn't making lots of money off of the people. He was telling them that they didn't need it. The meek shall inherit the earth. You know, you don't need to have massive wealth. The people who will inherit the world and the good things are the people who are not attached to money, don't have that love of money. And as I've said before, the actual quote is the love of money is the root of all evil, and will cause and causes many miseries. And causes many miseries. So you know I could totally see him going in there and flipping cards and saying, you know, get this out of here. This is sacred. This place is sacred. This is a place for us to actually share the truth. And this invasion of money and greed into this space is offensive. People like to think of Jeshua as a as completely infallible. And he wasn't. He was a man. And not only was he a man just like you and I, and told us on every occasion he could. And he washed our feet to show us he was no better, right? Greater works than I've done, you will do. Those statements are empowering statements. He never wanted anybody to deify him. I'm going to continue to say that often because he was a man and he had his moments. Somebody asked me the other day if I remembered him having siblings. I remember James. I have distinct memories of James. Now, the New Testament absolutely says he had multiple. He had brothers and sisters. But I only have memories of James, so I only talk about James. That does not mean he didn't have more. So as far as the money changers and the people selling their goods in the temple, Yeshua thought of those spaces as sacred, not in the regards of, esoterically sacred, as in, this is our house. This is our room. This is the place where we get to do things. Why are you coming in here? That kind of thing. That idea of him lashing out, everybody lashes out sometime. Everybody lashes out sometimes. And usually it's because of a fear. So let me ask you this. Do you think Jeshua had fear? Yes, he did. His anger was the fear of this space being taken over, this fear of spirituality not coming to the forefront and the truth not being heard. That's why he would have an experience like that. And did he have those kinds of experiences? Sure he did. Sure he did. Enlightenment, even the Dalai Lama and Buddha, everybody makes mistakes occasionally. And your job is to come to as close to fearless as possible and work your way through that. And once you get into that space of feeling that fearlessness, and I don't mean fearless like I have courage, no. I mean fearless like lack of fear. Because that's the difference. Courage means you are steeling yourself up to fight against something evil or bad that's coming, right? So even courage is based in fear. So it comes down to releasing fear and living in positive, you can go to your cross and have no fear of it. So in this situation, in the temple, in the temple, do I believe it could have happened? Sure. Do I believe it was likely to have happened? Possibly. Do I believe that it's a great lesson that Jeshua was a man as well? I think it's imperative. I think it's imperative that we come to the place where we know him as a man, because that was the core of the lesson, to say, look, I'm a man and I did this. You're a man, you can do this too. You're a woman, you can do this too. I'm a human, right? This whole deifying him to the point of putting him on such a pedestal where, he was born of a virgin and never had sex and all these things. It's just a non-reality to what was happening, what was there. That doesn't mean he wasn't enlightened. That doesn't mean he wasn't experiencing the divine. It just means he was a man and doing that. And that's important. That's hugely important, because that was what he was teaching us, that we all have that same ability. And sometimes you get mad and you overturn the tables. Sometimes you do the most loving and caring gesture you can. I want to share with you a story from my life. I was working at a Renaissance Festival in Maryland, and there was an issue one year where the power was out at the site. So we couldn't get on the internet at the site, and it was hard. So we would go over to the library, which is right downtown Annapolis there. We would go to the library and get on the internet in the library. And one day, a friend of mine went to my friend Charles, who played a character called Captain Ali, fantasies, fables, and follies. He's a storyteller. Giant heart of a man, big black man, and just a giant loving soul of a man. And he and I were down at the library on the internet, and I was done long before he was. He was still on the internet. And I walked outside, and this guy says, "Hey, can you give me a ride to the grocery store?" And I looked around, and I was like, something weird here, but yeah, I can do that for you. And I went back into Charles, and I said, "Charles, I'm going to take him down and right back." So I get into my truck. I was a truck back then. I was driving him to the grocery store, and he's talking to me, and he says, "So what do you do?" I said, I'm a performer, and at the Renaissance Festival." And he says, I said, he said, "What, I don't know how we got into the conversation, but he asked me why. He asked me why I said okay to give him a ride, and I said because it was the right thing to do. I said, we're all in this world together." And then he said to me a very interesting statement. He said, "Are you a Christian?" And I looked at him. I said, "In the oldest sense of the word." And we talked very calmly, caring, back and forth. And I drove home. He says, "Let me go." He says, "I'm going to go into the grocery store and see if my uncle can take me the rest of the way. If not, can you take me?" He said, "Sure." So I parked and let him go in. The phone rings, and it's Charles. The guy's now in the store. He says, "John, where are you?" I said, "I'm at the grocery store." He says, "That guy, they think he's the guy who's been picking up people here at the library and robbing them." I said, "I'm safe. I'm fine. Don't you worry." And he said, "Oh, okay." And I'm sitting there and finished the whole thing. And I was giving this guy respect and love the entire time. And what happened was I kept looking over, and he was looking out the window, like waiting for me to drive away. And he walks out, and he says, "You go ahead and go." And as I drove away, I realized that he was probably the robber. He was probably the guy. But, do I know he was? No. But he was probably the guy. And by talking to him with respect, love, and admiration, not admiration, but respect and love, I ended up probably thwarting a robbery attempt. Right? Do I know if I did or not? No. Do I think I did? I think I did. But the point of it is that, do for each other, love one another, and then you can thwart the bad things that'll happen to you. And you'll probably change somebody else's life because they'll realize there is somebody in the world who is loving and caring. And that's important. Do I get mad sometimes? Sure I do. But if I keep doing the best I can at loving and caring everybody, then in the end, I'm going to end up having a great life and changing the world for the better. My hope is that guy that day saw that somebody was there who did care and was willing to help, and hopefully it changed his perspective a little bit. It's the best I could do that day. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.